What's up, everyone? This time to wrestle with Suplexus. I'm the Suplexus, and today I am gonna review SummerSlam 2024 Cleveland. So, there were 7 matches in total on the show, and I will be reviewing the matches in the order that they took place from beginning to the end. So, first match was Liv Morgan defending her women's championship against Rhea Ripley. Now, this match took a while to get started, and the beginning was like normal heel tactics. You'll see Liv Morgan running away from Rhea Ripley, but the thing is, the heel tactics felt a bit played out. It might not have been 5 minutes, but it felt like it happened for 5 minutes in the match. And the match, most of it, so that was like part one. And then the second part of the match involved Liv Morgan targeting Rhea Ripley's shoulder and going after the one that she injured in April. So that was alright. You had Rhea popping it back in, just like Finn Balor did at SummerSlam 2016. So 8 years later, someone in the Judgment Day is still trying to pop their shoulder back in. But the main point of this match was the angle at the end where Rhea hit her big move and she refused to pin Liv. She wanted more punishment. She went to hit Liv with the chair. Dom took the chair. Dom was like, "You're not gonna win the title like that. You gotta think rationally." And then Liv hit the Oblivion. I thought that was it. I really did. But Rhea Ripley kicked out of the Oblivion. Nobody else has ever done that. That was cool to see. That reminded me of the end of Days when Drew kicked out of it at WrestleMania a couple years back. But in the end, Dominic slid the chair in, provided a perfect distraction for Liv to hit the Oblivion on the chair. A second Oblivion gets her the retention, and then her and Dom proceed to kiss and to do other things I don't want to know about on the ramp. This to me, I expected more from the match, if I'm gonna be honest, but I get it. You have Rhea Ripley just coming back, and you have a hot angle going on. Why end it at SummerSlam when you could drag it out to Berlin and to Bad Blood? Bad Blood is pretty fitting for this rivalry. Both people can't stand each other, and maybe you make it a three-way, like I suggested, to enhance the quality of the match. Someone like EO or someone, but this was good. It's a setup for the future. It was a good angle. It got like, oh my gosh, type of shock out of me. Rhea, Rhea and Dom are done. Live in Dom time. So, an angle opened up the show to me. The match was secondary. But next, we got Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. If I'm gonna be honest, this match really frustrated me. Because the beginning, like, WWE style matches, it is rare that you are gonna get crazy offensive maneuvers in the beginning. They like to do the feeling out process, and then Act 2, like bigger moves start happening, and Act 3, everyone's trying to hit their finisher. This one went from Act 1 to like the end of the match. It skipped Act 2 and 3. And it doesn't help that the match was extremely short, like under 10 minutes short. Braun Breaker wins the title, but this was a weak match. Perhaps the weakest match on the show, probably. And it was just way too short. The Money in the Bank one was longer. Money in the Bank one was better. I didn't enjoy the Money in the Bank one too much. I enjoyed this even less. But the point is of this match to put over Braun Breaker. He hit 2 spears. He won. Cool. But the match was not good. So the next one we got is LA Knight versus Logan Paul for the United States Championship. This was a good match to me. It, it delivered on what I expected. I expected a good wrestling match. I didn't expect like Roman versus Logan or Seth versus Logan or the three-way at Mania Royal Rumble level of match. I expected a good match, and they delivered a good match, and LA Knight won in the end. I feel like with all of Logan Paul's comments this week, the fans wouldn't have accepted a result where Logan Paul kept his title. They made the right decision. And finally, after over a year, started at Money in the Bank last year of LA Knight coming this close to winning championships or this close to winning an accomplishment. He finally did it. He won the US title. I'm happy for LA Knight. And now, SmackDown, the mid card on SmackDown. The thing is, like, you could put Andrade and Carmelo out there in like a bunch of matches, but it's not gonna mean anything if they don't have anything to fight for. Because Cody is like number 2 in the company, not number 1. The tribal chief is Roman Reigns. Number 2 though. And then we have like Logan Paul who barely defends his titles. Now the mid card on SmackDown has something to fight for though. That's very good. LA Knight, he deserves this. They put on a good match, the best one out of the 3 matches I've described thus far. So, no real complaints here. And the match went how it should go. Logan Paul doing his athleticism maneuvers or athletic maneuvers. LA Knight going in there entertaining. Good match. If I had to make a tiny nitpick, the brawl in the beginning could have been during the match. It could have been. But that's me being picky. This was a good match. So the next one was Bailey versus Nia Jax. In this match, it took quite a bit to get started. It's kind of like the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley match, where it took a while for them to get started, but eventually they were doing their moves. Bailey did the elbow drop from the top rope. I think that should be your finisher. The rose plant does not look as impressive as the elbow drop does, but that's a side note. They put on an alright match, and not frustrating like the Braun Breaker one, but not amazing like other matches to come. This was alright. Tiffany Stratton comes out and helps Nia Jax to win. I'm happy for Nia Jax. On a side note though, oh man, Bailey, I feel bad. After Mania, it was downhill from there. The title reign deserved better. They should have done better stories for Bailey, but what could you do? So Nia wins, and Tiffany's got the briefcase. I am excited to see their power trip on SmackDown, where they have the Women's Championship and the Money in the Bank. I'm assuming Nia's gonna try and convince her to go for the Raw title. We'll see how that plays out. Perhaps it goes into Survivor Series in Vancouver, right near where I live. Perhaps. But, alright match. Nia Jax won. I like Bailey more, but for the story they're telling, this is probably the right choice. So, now we got 3 matches These these three and the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley match were the three most anticipated matches of the night. First, we got CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with Seth freaking Rollins as a special guest referee. I enjoyed this quite a bit. This was my favorite match at this point, which is the fifth match on the card. So they're going at it. It's pretty fast in the beginning. I appreciated that. The worst thing you could have is a blood feud that starts with wrestles in a match. But they went at it in the beginning. It was what it should have been. You had callbacks with CM Punk dressing like Bret Hart and Seth Rollins kind of looking like Shawn Michaels mixed with Matt Hardy's pants, which is a weird comment. But callbacks to that 1997 Hurt and Soul main event. So this was good to me. Drew McIntyre won. That was a popular prediction, but I expected Punk to win because I thought the feud would continue. I I thought like if you wanted the feud to continue, you have Punk win, then you have Drew go even more crazy and perhaps invade his home. Right now, it seems like Punk might be the one gunning after Drew instead of the opposite. So there are a number of ways I could see this going. Way number one, the one I said where you do the three-way at Berlin. You have Seth, Punk, and Drew. Punk gets his win back there. Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell, Punk versus Drew. Or you have a three-person match at Bad Blood and Hell in a Cell, Punk, Drew, and Seth. I would prefer a one-on-one Hell in a Cell match. I'd prefer the first option, but this leaves the door open to more options to me. So, uh, a lot of ways this could go, and a pretty good match. My favorite one so far. Now, let's talk about my favorite match of the night. Damian Priest defending against Gunther. Also, I should mention from the Punk one, uh, Punk would think Seth Rollins screwed him over. So that'll be a story. That's a story waiting to be told on Monday Night Raw. Punk versus Seth at Survivor Series at the Rumble, maybe even at Mania. Seems like the direction they're going. So now, back to the world title match. Back to the world title match. And this was a banger. This is the best match on the card. I expected it to be the most surprising match on the card, surprisingly good. And it was. Everyone did their job. You had Gunther being this foreign heel who Damien can't take down. You had Damien fighting from the bottom. He's been fighting from the bottom his entire title reign. And Finn Balor executing the heel turn. This heel turn hit harder to me because the Rhea Ripley one there's the biggest reason is Rhea Ripley was challenging for the title. Nothing drastically changed with the world title for the women's one. In this case, a world title changed hands because of Finn Balor. So that happened, and uh, I was really wanting Damian Priest to win because we got all these champions after Mania. We got Cody. We got all these people. But the one I was like iffy about was Damian Priest winning. I didn't think he was ready. But slowly when May happened at Backlash, I was like, okay, he brought Jey Uso to one of Jay's best matches. Cool. And then it went up at Clash at the Castle when he got tied up in the ropes. If you don't remember, one of his legs was tied up, and that made the match even better because Drew got to work the leg, and they had an excellent match in the main event of Clash at the Castle. And then Money in the Bank, like minus that pinfall error, that was an error on Damien's part, but another great match. I slowly became a fan of him throughout the title reign. It, unlike Bailey, whose title reign went downhill after Mania, his went uphill. So I was really wanting him to win. Finn doing that really hit me hard. I thought Finn and Damien was the money match. Gunther wins. Damien put in a hell of an effort. He had me in the palm of his hand. I was breaking down on that couch, so intrigued by the match, so nervous that Gunther was going to win, which he eventually did. So, where do I see this going? Match of the night, by the way, to me. But I see this. I wanted Damien versus Finn. Perhaps we get Gunther in there and make it a three-way at Bad Blood. Perhaps that's the Berlin match and we still got Finn and Damien. There are many directions. I'd appreciate both of those directions as long as they give Gunther a good story for Bad Blood. They could do that three-way at that show. I would prefer a three-way at Bad Blood though, if I'll be honest. Because Finn's been wanting that world title. Damien's gonna want it back. That's how I do it. But now, speaking of some bad blood, related by blood, we got Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa and Bloodline Rules like the final boss. The Rock would say, the final boss. Anyways, Bloodline Rules. Cody defending against Solo. This was a mixed match to me. The first half of the match with no interferences was the worst thing a wrestling match could be. It was boring. They were doing moves. This felt like a TV match that I would forward in the beginning. They were just doing moves. I wasn't excited. And then the interferences happened. And then my one issue came out. I'm going to talk about this before I discuss the Roman. I'll discuss that in a minute. My one issue with this match, the biggest issue, was Cody Rhodes needed other people to beat up Solo Sikoa to win. Cody Rhodes, the guy who ended the 1,316-day title reign at WrestleMania 40, should not need Randy Orton. He shouldn't need Kevin Owens. He shouldn't need Roman Reigns to beat Solo Sikoa. Because when you do that, what the TV is telling me is that even though this guy's the champion, Roman is still the face of the company. And if you've been following me for a bit, you know I am a die-hard Roman Reigns fan. Even I gotta say, it's time for him. He headlined in 2015. Now we headlined this year in 2024. And that's when this is happening. It's time for Cody Rhodes. I want Roman Reigns to be a different part of SmackDown. Not around the title, but now I'll talk about him returning. Even though those things happened, even though I was not happy with the decision to have Cody not beat Solo by himself. Dang. Roman Reigns. We had amazing wrestling. Both companies, don't get me wrong. Legendary Raw matches, legendary SmackDown matches, a legendary Dynamite match. But it felt like there is a tribal chief gap. Even though he's a part timer before Mania, regardless of anything going on in wrestling, there's always the behind the scenes presence of Roman Reigns influencing stuff that goes down on SmackDown related to his family. And now it's back. Now it's back. Do I think he's gonna wrestle at Berlin? No. I don't think he's gonna. I think Bad Blood is a fitting show for him to return. Bad Blood is all about not being able to stand the sight of someone else in a position. You can't take them anymore. You want to go after them. You want to do all this stuff to them. Roman Solo is the Bad Blood match. It shouldn't main event. The Hell in a Cell should main event. It should kick off. But that is your match. What is Cody gonna do? They gotta answer that on Friday. Because this main event, Cody Rhodes, he was the second or even third most important person in this match. Behind Roman, definitely, and maybe behind Solo. Yeah. They gotta fix Cody's title reign. If there's one thing they gotta focus on, they gotta fix his title reign. Do what I pitched with Randy Orton, but yeah, they gotta fix that. I love Roman Reigns coming back. I don't like how they're treating Cody though. This was a good match to me. But with Damian Priest and Gunther being the best match, with Punk and Drew being the second, and with Cody Solo being the third, they ended the show on a good note. What do I think of this? I think this was better than last year's SummerSlam. SummerSlam had good moments last year, like the women's Money in the Bank cash in, Lesnar and Cody, but the Baszler Ronda match was bad. The IC title one may have been not good, that was bad though. And the main event I wanted to love last year so bad, but I couldn't. This year's was better to me. It was a good show. It gets a B grade. I can't give it much higher because of some of the disappointments on the show, but it was good. If you're wondering, should I watch this show? I got the network if I'm in Canada. I got Peacock if I'm in the United States. Should I watch this show? Yes. Lot went down. We had, if I could count, one, two, three, four title changes on this show, and we had a couple of betrayals going on. This was an important show. You shouldn't miss it. You should check it out. So, good show. This has been Suplexus. I'm probably going to be off YouTube for a bit because I'm going to Courtney in British Columbia tomorrow. And then I am going to London and I'm gonna be at Wembley Stadium to watch All In and at Cardiff for the Dynamite before. Thank you. This has been Suplexus. Have an amazing August if I don't see you all again. Goodbye.